last one I went to was with Mr. Legendary Doyle Brunson, R.I.P.
Love Doyle.
Yeah. And Phil Ivey was there. You know, never know who's going to show up to a mug, so very, very fun. And yeah, if you guys are watching, listening, tuning in, join us next winter. Ooh, 2 huge hands colliding here.
I think the closest I've ever been to a mug is a mug shot.
Yeah, I've actually hosted several of my own mugs throughout the country. And it's a fun time to just get together, play poker, and people love to come play against you and try to take your money.
Well,
So.
speaking of taking money.
Oh, my goodness.
Wow.
Yeah.
Everybody waking up.
And if you're Mark here, you have the perfect stack size to 4-bet rip here.
All in.
Yep, and he does rip all in.
I imagine.
Now, what do you do if you're under the gun here?
It's effectively 25 bigs.
6-bet rejam. Do you call? Roland's 3-betting the ace-queen out of the small blind, completely dominated.
I mean, Roland's is all in as well, basically. He only started the hand with roughly 225, somewhere in that range. So you have a chance to put it in for 600K effective with ace-king. You're already healthy at 1.8 million. You don't love the spot, but I'm not sure. And he is going to pass. You can see that Rollins did leave himself some crumbs behind, 75K.
He does stick it in.
Good luck all in.
Very committed there was Rollins, putting in most of his stack pre. Players will do that sometimes. There's a pay jump looming. Maybe they can take some time off the clock and get that extra jump. But here we go. Ace-queen versus the ace-king suited. Roland's all in and at risk. 655,000 in the middle.
Oh, the sweat is agonizing.
Just exactly perfect. I got double Farco.
Okay, well, that'll do it.
That
Yep.
made it easy.
Okay, well.
Boy, what could have been for Newhouse had Rabah called there with ace-king as well.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow, that's sick.
And the needle queen on the turn.
One spade less, I would be.
Wow.
Not
Yeah,
suited, right?
that's a strong fold, bro.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, yeah, a lot of action. I mean,
The newest online poker site, Club WPT Gold, is available to try now. And coming soon, Club WPT Gold ambassadors will be hosting meetup games. Brad Owen, Rampage, Xuan Liu, and Wolfgame Poker will all be there. Sign up using any one of their codes, and you'll be able to play alongside them as you check out the newest poker site, sweeping the nation. Join us coming soon for Club WPT Gold Meetup Games.
Just taking a look at the leaderboard, and things are really starting to come together. Mark Seif, he's made a run today up to 3.4 million. How about Ape Styles, WPT Global's own? He's at more than 3 million in chips.
Such a crusher, that guy.
Calvin Anderson, if you tuned in yesterday and you had a chance to watch Cal play, he's at 2.5 million. Marcus Gonzalez, another WPT champion, inside the top 20. Marcus was all in on the stone bubble. His 2 jacks up against ace-king suited, and the jacks held. Some total crushers are left remaining in this field.
Indeed.
As we can see, there's 196 left.
Yeah. Kind of a little bit of an interesting flop here. Paul calls in the big blind. Flops gutter straight and flush draw, and John with middle pair, backdoor flush draw. What was the pre-flop razor with the ace-8? Does decide to check it back. And Paul makes a flush on the turn. Not going to probably be able to get too much value out of John. His hand just really shrivels up on this board texture. Paul going to take initiative and bets 90,000. John gonna call one. See the river. Oh no.
Oh, no, John.
That was the only card, I think, besides an ace that could get John into some trouble here.
How much, Paul? As played, it looks like John can be very queen heavy, considering the call on the turn. And even better for Paul, it happens to be trip eights that he's up against. He will size it up.
Yeah, and I like this size, 225.
I can't imagine John doing anything but just calling here.
Yeah.
A raise would be pretty insane, although it would also put Paul in a really bad spot, and those are calling chips.
Flush.
Yeah, unlucky river there for John. Where good for Paul, though. Extracts more value. He wins about 380 extra chips.
Were you looking for that jack of clubs on the river?
Jack of clubs.
Don't have a time bank?
Yeah, I do.
Oh, okay.
Always nice to win hands out of the big blind.
Didn't over there.
Yeah, yeah.
It's always would have been fun.
I still can't get over the squirrel thing. I'm from squirrel country,
Yeah.
very rural town. Never had the squirrels like that eating through.
Yes.
Was it
Yes.
antifreeze by any chance?
Can I get a red?
I don't
Is that what they get into?
You know, I'm not sure. All I know is all my electrical connections went out. I didn't have cruise control or my emergency brake system. I don't know. It was weird. Something in the rubber.
You sure you weren't just, you know, I don't know, robbed? Were they stripping the copper wire?
I hope not, because we live out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, the law come out and the law said, yeah, that's a squirrel.
Yeah. Apparently it's a thing out there.
Must be.
A raise from Chen onto the gun.
Some savage squirrels in Texas. out
They
there robbing
are. They are
cars.
savage indeed.
Albino squirrels in Asheville.
Wow. Yeah, who knew?
I think we just have normal squirrels in Buffalo.
Yeah. We also had a copperhead snake right outside our front
Yeah,
porch.
those are nasty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
Okay.
got all kinds of stuff.
Boy,
This is what I do, yeah.
scary place, wherever you're from.
Is so we had Chen raise the ace-10 off under the gun. Paul defends in the big blind. Flops pair, ace kicker, and Chen with the gutter and range advantage. Positional advantage as well. To the turn we go. 2 clubs out there. Oh, and that turn card smashes Paul. See if Chen shuts it down. Double flush draws out there, straight draws. Wisely shuts it down. His opponent can definitely have some Jack X there. Paul upgrades to a full house. Flush draws miss, so if Paul fires here, Chen could try to find the hero with ace high.
Flush draws miss.
Queen 10 misses.
Hands like queen 10, queen 9 that may have decided to peel. The deuce, if he had deuce X of diamonds, that's now been counterfeited, depending on what was alongside them. You can find some bluffs
Goes bet
potentially to pick off.
150 here.
We got problems if we're Chen. You try and avoid these spots as much as possible, but it's inevitable you will face difficult decisions throughout.
Especially from really good players, right? They're always going to put you in a tough spot. He does flick in the ace-high call. Sees the bad news. Against a player like Paul, it'd be very tough to fold your ace-high there.
I'm Jeremiah.
Jeremiah, nice.
Not to mention, all the smaller pairs got counterfeited,
so,
too.
go
So
around
he
the
can
table,
also
if
have
anybody
those,
bought it.
turning those into a bluff. So
Nice to meet you.
Got it into it and stuff.
I love to
You
see
know,
the game
I'm
growing.
from Jersey, so no worries. I'm from Jersey, so like just a couple years ago, we opened up that multi-state gaming agency, and that made it huge for me because I was playing like even in the little micro stakes tournaments that I was playing on like, you know, 888 or WSOP or whatever, they like tripled in size immediately. Like all of a sudden it's actually worth it. You know what I mean? To maybe sit down and play some of these $20 tournaments when you can get 1,000, 1,300 up top, which is, you know, nice for me.
Rabah 10-8 of diamonds on the button.
But yeah, I would say that rather than referring to myself as smart for being a limit player, I'd say I wasted a lot of my life and am way behind the learning curve in more popular games.
Wait,
So,
aren't you that guy that back-to-back final table to me?
yeah, I did that too.
It doesn't sound like a waste of nothing to me, bro.
Well, that's
Ace 9-6 rainbow.
aside from being a limit player. Yeah.
Well, it sounds like you're a no-limit player,
What?
too.
City you getting, like, what's running?
In LA, they have 6120.
Rabah
at-
gonna bet his gut
I think it's
shot.
Bike now. They have 50-100 at the Hustler. There's a bigger private game.
You don't get it?
Yeah.
King,
and
queen,
it's
too good
like
to fold
150
on that flop.
Anyway. Yeah, no,
Sounds
it's
terrible.
Slight
it's
improvement
awful, yeah, it
for
sucks.
And
Rabah?
does.
I was,
Turns a very
before
nice
daylight
pair of
savings,
queens. Check,
I
check.
was in LA on like a super late
Bingo.
night.
Oh my
So
goodness.
that's the other thing. I don't like
That's
to
one
play
way
in
to back
full ring
into
hold'em
the
games. I like
nuts.
to try to play
Second
short,
nut straight.
which requires like really degenerate sleeping hours.
Third nuts. Who's counting?
People are quitting.
I don't want to
Yeah,
get filleted in
so
chat.
We'll just call it a straight.
We'll just call
You
it
know,
a
he's
straight.
got himself a straight.
Yeah, that's good.
Well, mix is a natural progression from limit to like it's where limit players go. But
Kind of sucks
but
when
it's
you
kind of,
call correctly flop,
kind of the same thing. It's a small player pool.
make a pair on the turn, and
I'm
then
spotting a bit
10-8
of-
gets
I'm
there.
spotting a bit of a paradox in your story. You said you had to keep crazy hours to get short-handed, but if everybody's old, then aren't they in bed by like 7:30?
No, they're degenerates. The older people play the longest. They're yeah.
Some of them.
I started out playing cash, and I turned into a tournament player, and I've, in recent years, seen a lot of my friends also do the same. A lot of my cash game friends are turning into tournament crushers, or
Yeah.
got into tournaments, and it's becoming more and more popular, which I love. But they also are getting a lot tougher, too. People are becoming more studied.
In the no limit,
There's
big
so
bet
much
world,
material out there to learn and get better
18 years at anything.
these days.
Well, that's why they ought to make all
Reading blueprints for
training
life.
sites illegal.
Very happy to.
Let's get rid of learning.
Don't learn. Stay a fish.
Gets paid off, does Rabah. Very nice. Chen sees the bad news. The king was problematic for him, blocking king 10.
Yes, tough
Thinking,
one.
could
Tough
be a lot
one.
of bluffs out there.
Enough to never dream of winning one. I was happy to go to Vegas and play a free roll. I was happy to cash. That was my first main goal, was just cash that free roll. I did that. I was proud of myself. I was getting ready to go home, and we got lucky again.
First goal accomplished. Second goal accomplished.
Yeah,
What's next?
too many goals accomplished. Well, I'm just gonna see how deep I run in this, and I'm gonna set it up.
I like it.
I do have a couple of things.
Bradley in the cutoff pocket fives, good enough to go all in here. Getting short.
What is it?
Paul gonna flick in a call here. So Bradley gonna need to hold for his tournament life. Slight favorite here. Pocket fives versus ace jack of diamonds.
Well, Bradley, you've done it once.
Could do it again.
Uh-oh.
Ace in the window.
So hard to beat Paul G's, Paul Volpe in flips. He's a professional flipper. Oh,
Just so close. 2 outs to the river.
Oh, hold up. Let me stand up. Maybe that'll...
Plus EV.
It'll do it for you.
Oh.
All around it, but not 5. GG's Bradley stuck in there as a short stack
But
and
yeah, no. So it's weird because I'm still here. and
Navigated.
obviously I'm
the best he could.
yeah.
Every time.
What's that?
Every time. It's very strong 3 points.
I'm scooped on
I'm a
this.
very...
But like,
For most Americans, their memory of online poker is stuck in the past. A desert filled with unsafe options or no option at all. Well, not anymore. Club WPT Gold is bringing poker back to America. It's a sweepstakes model website sweeping the nation, and it's available to try out now. Sign up now using code YouTube and enjoy the return of safe online poker to America.
Did I see an empty seat? Who's not back yet from break?
Uh-oh. Ooh, and we have a
Oh.
big hand developing here.
Yes, we do.
Mark. Under the gun, jacks. Paul with the goods. Pocket kings. 3 bets to 175.
Yeah, with that level jump now, 15K, 30K, this is a problem for Mark Newhouse.
Yes. He has a stack size that can...
It likes to jam these 2 jacks.
He will immediately get horrible news. But it seems like the most likely option, as Paul can be doing this with ace king, ace queen suited.
Very nice so far. Okay.
Okay.
Remember, he's a limit guy by nature, preserving that tournament life. Let's take a look at some texture, and he's got life now with the diamonds. The overpair remains to be the case for Mark Newhouse in his eyes, but he's up against a better pair that is kings, possessed by Paul Volpe.
All in.
And just rips it.
How much is that?
Yeah,
Should be 510.
Paul doesn't
Or,
love it, but I think we're
6
just
or 5.
simply too good to fold.
Yeah, it kind of sucks. You don't have a diamond, but you're
6-10,
not
she's right.
folding. Decent amount of outs here from Mark. He's actually 42%.
Yeah.
Paul's hand very vulnerable, even though he has his pair crushed. Will this be the end of Mark? And
Go
it
ahead.
will.
Yeah, nice meeting you.
End of the road for Mark Newhouse. Another deep run in a massive field.
Big line.
And Paul Volpe, his day continues. He's approaching now
one of each.
3 million in chips.
Yeah, that was actually a big pot. Amazing. Right idea with the pocket eights, just unlucky river. Paul now, he's cruising up to about 100 big blinds.
Loren,
Ace king hearts.
Jeremiah. Nice to meet you. Where you from? Switzerland. Switzerland.
Meanwhile, Lorenz and Jeremiah have just become best friends.
Love to see it.
My
King queen in
my
the
favorite
big
hockey
blind.
player
He could
for
rip here.
The New Jersey Devils is our captain.
That's a really good hand to do it with. Stack
First
size.
Swiss-born player to ever get drafted #1 overall.
He is going to rip, and he's going to get terrible news.
Yeah, I'm a big fan.
Terrible time to be facing the ace king suited. Unlucky for
Jacking
Anthony.
out.
He's not out yet, though. He has 2 suits working and the queen. Paul set to add even more chips to his stack. This is a 1,000,000 chip pot. Over 30 big blinds in the middle. Queen on the flop, but 2 hearts.
That's fair.
They're still basically flipping. Paul slightly ahead, even with Anthony hitting his queen. Buckle up. Be such a sick double for Anthony if he can fade. He does not. Heart on the river. Such an unlucky spot for Anthony. Running into Paul's ace king.
Just nothing you can do.
Yeah.
Volpe has been very active. Now, granted, he's had a lot of big hands.
few new faces. As Casey with a hand that
You'll be able to use that against me.
wants to go all in with 10
He's
bigs
fine
under
with
the
that.
gun, pocket eights, and he does shove.
I thought he was. Kept freaking
About 11 bigs under the gun.
I got a little gamble in
5, 6, 55.
Mark with a good hand. If he wasn't
I got
under
slot money in my pocket.
under the gun,
How much is that? 5
2.
560?
Does have to worry about the other players.
560. Less than 20.
Yeah, since the introduction of the big blind ante has encouraged players under the gun +1 to go a little bit wider than we did in the before time. Pocket eights obviously more than qualifies, but you will throw a few worse holdings in there than we would have done otherwise, and that is probably part of the reason why Mark quite likes his ace jack in this spot. I do think your point is very correct though, Ashley. I think with all those players left to act behind, if you could make this call maybe on the button or certainly out of the blinds, you'd be feeling much better about it. He has to put out this 560 and just hope nobody wakes up behind. Now he will be balanced. He will presumably flat aces and kings, maybe even queens himself, looking to induce some action behind ace jack, obviously one of the hands he will have to release here. And wow, what a spot for Casey to actually get an opportunity for a triple up. Of course, he is dominated, but it will be a favourable spot in terms of how many chips are in the middle.
Yeah, and Chris Conrad waking up with pocket queens. That's kind of the problem that ace jack off face is making this call so early. But
Like 6 to 1.
3 bets to 1.2 million. Now ace jack just looks really bad here.
That's what I
I
said.
like
6 to 1.
this 3 bet from Chris.
Right, so 2 out of 13, 6 to 1.
Yeah, it's really awkward for Mark now. Obviously, can surmise that a hand like tens might get in the middle here, and that's the one he'd be hoping to see. But nothing worse than that, really.
Right, and yeah, Chris started the hand with about 40 big blinds, so this is a big spot. Don't imagine ace jack is calling here.
Wow. That is a gambly one here from Mark. Flatting with just 700k behind. I can't imagine the rest of the chips not getting in here on flop. Christopher now going to have to beat 2 hands. As will Casey for his tournament life. Just sitting back now, going to have to watch these two play it out.
Yeah.
Hope maybe there's an 8 in the deck, or maybe they both have a hand like ace king, ace queen blocking each other. That's the dream situation for him. Sadly, we see that that is not the case.
Went over to the Venetian food court for a while,
Right.
but then a bunch of
1.8
other people
in the
started going
middle.
there and got too busy, so I started walking. I didn't know sort of.
This is an interesting one.
Yeah, I feel like Mark sent some good money after bad here. Of course, the deck could yet bail him out.
Yes, this is going to be an interesting one. Moving forward here to the flop. Oh my gosh, and an ace on the flop. This is just disgusting for Chris. He does still have 700 behind.
This is very sick for Chris, who
Oh my
obviously
gosh.
chopped his sack, so to speak, pre-flop rather than just sticking it in. That's maybe part of the reason why Mark got dragged along here. He is in one of those awful spots where he feels like he's either miles behind the ace
Right.
X or miles ahead of a hand that may not even shove. Like if he's got 9s or 10s here, is he going to rep the ace here and try and get you off the kings, the queens? It's very unlikely.
Yeah. I'm not sure. I mean, I would imagine Chris can get away here. This 3-way situation, one player all in. You're going to see his hand. He flats the all in from Casey, then flats Chris's raise 3-bet.
It was a sort
He
of a
does
shrug
fold.
get in from Mark, which did sort of give away maybe, like, I can't get away,
Okay,
so I
good
may
luck,
as well
buddy.
put it in myself.
Yeah, and man, just feel for Chris there.
I'm
Brutal.
fine with that.
Still has chips though, and
take
so
the
now
50%.
we are all in here. Ace Jack outflops the 8s. Casey at risk. One card to come.
If it's a queen, we know.
Nice hand.
Thank you.
Good game, y'all.
And Mark gets into a tricky spot, but it works out for his ace jack, and Casey is eliminated.
Nothing.
Feels good. You know, you have a massive stack in front of you, run deep, in the money. Yeah, it's a good time. When I have a short stack, I get a little stressed.
They said his phone's interfering with the system.
I'm not-
So somehow you
Are
had
you
yours
talkative at the
the
table
whole
in
time
general?
before dinner.
In general, I am, yeah.
Okay, I thought
They
maybe.
took mine away.
I am quite chatty. I was on the main event table with
They said
Jamie
it's a winner and
Kerstetter for the entire day one a couple of days
How'd you
ago.
guys manage that?
And we were bantering. We probably had our table tortured, actually.
Oh, she's so witty and funny. Love her.
Yeah.
Love Jamie. She's great.
They actually want your phone?
Maybe.
Sure.
William under
Yes,
the
you guys
gun,
have to
ace
take our
queen
phones.
of spades. Raising off 2.1. Raising off 2.2. Millie. Robert in the big blind, suited king. Similar stack sizes. Gonna see a flop.
Yeah, spade smothered right now. Little does it Robert now. Hopefully we don't see too many. Well, we see one.
One spade out there, and ace queen, some backdoor stuff working. However, this texture can get pretty bad.
Yeah, definitely a board where we're going to mix in a fair amount of checks.
Yeah.
But Robert just going to mull this one over. Middle pin, backdoor, straight and flush possibilities. Oh, and there is a queen.
Yeah, just not a good card for Robert.
And William, while he will be happy to see that queen, he won't be delighted to see it. Very plausible that Robert has a 10x here. And actually, Robert turning his hand into a bluff now.
I actually like this a lot. Blocks the nut straight. Blocks some sets. Set of nines.
Top, William going nowhere. Going to test his opponent out. If Robert can find another barrel here, though, every reason to believe he could take this one down. Very hard to do, though, when your opponent has been sticky once. We
Yeah.
have a fun one on our hands, I believe. Robert definitely mulling over what are the call, turn, fold rivers in Williams' range. Over pairs, maybe aces and kings. Obviously, he blocks kings, but, you know, still possible. One pair hands can certainly be targeted, and he's going for a sort of what looks like a milky sizing, which I actually really like because, you know, if you're trying to get a cry call from one pair, this is maybe what you would do. But conversely, he's setting a very good price for William. So, interesting situation.
Yes, indeed.
We used to call these post-oak bluffs.
Yeah, and William with a bluff catcher on this four-liner.
Does find the call. A muck from Robert, who decides his 9 could never be good. We obviously see he was right about that.
Dangerous.
I might have turned my hand over.
Getting a
That's
player?
very dangerous.
Flat player is a big blind, if that matters. So.
Might have turned my hand over for two reasons. The
Definitely.
1% chance that my hand was good and I was heroed off lighter.
I don't
And
know,
secondly,
asking,
I'd want to
see if
see
I
what
go
he
chips,
called
so.
with.
Absolutely.
The newest online poker site, Club WPT Gold, is available to try now. And coming soon, Club WPT Gold ambassadors will be hosting meetup games. Brad Owen, Rampage, Xuan Liu, and Wolfgame Poker will all be there. Sign up using any one of their codes, and you'll be able to play alongside them as you check out the newest poker site sweeping the nation. Join us coming soon for Club WPT Gold Meetup Games.
Audio 30 bigs behind. Ace 3 of diamonds.
You get 25 during the double points. So I should be
Yeah,
going
it's
this
like
way.
that's, it's like I think
Not
next
picking
couple
girls.
days.
Yeah. And you still- you
Good
don't
enough
need
to
it, it's
open
just
here.
like warming
Gonna
up
make
a
it
little
120.
bit. A little bit. Let's see.
Yeah, it's a crazy thought of like.
Love this hand selection from Nadia, obviously opening off 28 bigs. These suited
I feel like, I mean, do you ever
wheel aces, really, really nice to mix in.
Yes, they function nicely as raises here with the stack size. Isaac having none of it though. Gonna put in the 3-bet with the king 10 off if you're gonna play it. I
Oh,
guess.
Jeremy, a gift.
Oh wow. Finally something going his way. His hand is just a pure jam here.
Yeah, not loving 2 raises before you, but also not able to resist.
Yeah.
10's just too much kit.
Isaac gets his hand caught in the cookie jar.
Big time. And he's priced in here. He's going to have to make this call, I think.
Yeah, I think there's too much in there. Committed already.
Yeah, 600 to win 2.2. So only needs a little north of 25%, maybe 28% is enough. Okay, factor in a little bit of ICM, factor in a little bit of maybe just, you know, chips, you know, lost are more valuable than chips gained in that sort of equation. And maybe he needs 30%, 31%, something of that nature. And it's hard not to have something around that number with this King 10. Obviously, aces is the one you really don't want to see, but he is going to just commit them. He understands the maths of this situation. He understands that he kind of made a pretty nasty bed for himself. He's going to have to sleep in it now.
Yeah, just fast flick it in there. 31%.
How much is it? 1,035,000?
It might actually be. This was reversed.
Yeah, it was reversed. Yeah.
Before we started.
Jeremy in great shape to double here if he can just hold.
Yes.
Isaac not loving it. Kind of annoyed at the situation. What a flop.
Oh yeah.
2 outs for Isaac.
I can't believe they can't.
Jeremy holds his breath.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Never safe in poker.
Tables today?
He will be very relieved to see that 3 of spades on the river.
Oh, big exhale, big sigh of relief.
It's crazy in poker. You can flop a set. Your opponent flops 2 paired. You're very still not out of the water.
Yeah.
Nevertheless, he
We would
does
like to have
Yeah, we
that.
look.
I didn't
Win
see
this
the-
one?
I assumed
Yeah,
it was
just
down.
this.